My name is Freeman Martin. I'm a regional director with the Texas Department of Public Safety, and I'm going to read something to start off this press briefing. Almost 24 hours ago, this community was struck by unthinkable tragedy. And first and foremost, we'd like to keep our thoughts and prayers with the families who have lost loved ones, the victims who were injured, and the entire community who's come together to support each other during this difficult time. Our investigators worked tirelessly around the clock since the shooting, and we will continue to do so to gather all the facts and evidence in this investigation. Here's what we confirm at this point. The deceased, there are 26 deceased, 23 in the church, 2 outside the church, and 1 at the hospital. The total wounded include, the total number is 20. There are 6 in stable condition or have been released. There are 4 in serious condition and 10 that remain in critical condition, so this number could rise. We ask that everyone keep them in your thoughts and prayers. The names of the victims will be released as soon as all of the next of kin have been notified. We appreciate everyone's understanding in the sensitive nature and process. The suspect we can confirm is Devin Patrick Kelly. He is 26-year-old white male. He was residing in New Braunfels, Texas. The cause and manner of the death with the shooter will be determined by a pathologist during the autopsy. However, investigators found evidence at the scene that indicates the subject may have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We can tell you, as in with all active shooter situations, the #1 goal of law enforcement is to neutralize the shooter. In this situation, we had 2 Good Samaritans that did that for law enforcement. This call went out as an active shooter call. Law enforcement was responding, but we know that a local resident that lives across the street from the church heard what was going on. He armed himself with an AR assault rifle and engaged the suspect. They engaged in gunfire here at the church. We know that the suspect was shot. When he dropped his assault rifle, jumped in his Ford Expedition and fled the scene, this Good Samaritan, our Texas hero, flagged down another young man from Seguin, Texas, and jumped in his vehicle, and they pursued the suspect. We know during that pursuit, the suspect used his cell phone to notify his father that he had been shot and didn't think he was going to make it. Subsequently, he shot himself, and so as I said, the pathologist will determine the cause and manner of his death. We can confirm that the suspect did not have a license to carry. The suspect did have a non-commissioned, unarmed private security license, similar to a security guard at a concert type situation. There were no disqualifiers entered into the National Crime Information Center database that would preclude him from receiving a private security license. Private security background checks, including fingerprints and a criminal history checks with the Texas Crime Information Center and National Crime Information Center databases were checked, and he was cleared. I can tell you there is video recording from inside the church that has been secured, and we have viewed the video. The crime scene investigation will go on for days. All the bodies have been removed from the church. Our victims will be autopsied at the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office. As I said, our suspect was autopsied this morning in Travis County, and that information will be forthcoming. We know you have a lot of questions. We'll answer what we can, but to start off with, I think we're going to go to the special agent in charge of ATF to answer questions that he can answer. His assistance to this investigation, the suspect, and his purchase of the firearms.
Good morning. My name is Fred Milanowski. It's Milanowski. I'm the special agent in charge of ATF's Houston Field Division. First and foremost, our hearts go out to the citizens of this community and the victims' families. I mean, it is obviously a tragic for all of us. What I can confirm, there was 3 firearms that have been recovered. One was the Ruger 5.56 rifle that was recovered the scene of the church. 2 additional handguns were recovered from the vehicle of the deceased suspect. One was a Glock 9mm and one was a Ruger 22. I also can confirm that all 3 of these firearms were purchased by the deceased suspect. And there's been a lot of information in the media and question about the discharge of this individual from the military. What I will tell you right now is that in general, if an individual has a dishonorable discharge from the military, they would be prohibited from possessing or purchasing firearms. In this specific investigation, we are early in the investigation. We do not have all the documentation yet. So until we can get all the documentation to determine exactly what his discharge was, exactly what his conviction in the military, we will not have a determination on if this individual was prohibited from possessing or purchasing firearms. Thank you.
Next we'll have the Wilson County Sheriff, Joe Tackett.
I think I've spoke to most of you this morning. Some things have changed since early morning when I spoke to you, and we will be getting back with y'all later. And if you need, try to contact me. I think most of you did get my telephone number. Right now, our hearts are going out to all the family members that have lost family or have family in the hospital. Thank y'all.
Next we'll have the
Good morning, I'm Christopher Combs. I'm the FBI Special Agent in charge. First of all, our condolences to this community on this horrific act. We're here with our partners, the DPS and the Rangers, who we work with every day in support of them, assisting them in any way that we can. Right now we're providing some of the evidence teams in support and also some technical support with phones, video that we talked about, going back to our lab at Quantico. So we are here in support of Texas DPS, and we will be here with them as long as they need. Thank you.
And one thing everybody wants to know is, why did this happen? It's a senseless crime, but we can tell you that there was a domestic situation going on within this family. The suspect's mother-in-law attended this church. We know that he had made threatening texts from him, and we can't go into details about that domestic situation that is continuing to be vetted and thoroughly investigated. But we want to get that out there, that this was not racially motivated. It wasn't over religious beliefs. There was a domestic situation going on within the family and the in-laws. And next, the Wilson County District Attorney, Aubrey Lewis. I'd like to say something.
Good morning. We've learned this morning just how small town America truly is. We've had a tremendous outpouring across the country for people wanting to assist our families in need. And I want to make sure that everyone knows how they can help, because everyone can help. You can help by praying for these families and their loved ones, first and foremost, and everyone can do that. The other thing is, you can help these families financially. And so we are working and in the process of setting up 2 bank accounts. The Sutherland Springs Community Association has a bank account through Commerce Bank in Stockdale that will be accepting monetary donations on behalf of the families. In addition to that, Wells Fargo will have an account as well set up for the victims of Sutherland Springs. And so that will be available for anyone to help. What we do not need at this point are canned goods and non-perishable items for the families. If you want a way to help, it's through prayer and it's through financial donations. You guys sharing that information, and we are very grateful for this country and the just tremendous outpouring of support that these families are starting to receive, and we want to make sure that everybody knows how they can help. So thank y'all very much.
Also with us today, we have 2 Texas Ranger Majors, Corey Lane and Brian Brzezinski, who are the incident commanders for the investigation. So we will try to answer any of your questions you have at this time.
What did the video show, and will it assist in the investigation?
Of course, the video will assist in the investigation, and you know, it was a horrific event, and at this time we're not prepared to talk about the video.
Director Martin, could you explain what happened after the shooting happened? Could you back up a little bit and give us a description? There were reports that he was at the gas station and walked up right behind where you gentlemen are standing. Could you give us a little bit of that?
We know he was seen at the Valero. He was obvious. He was wearing a ballistic vest with a plate on the front. There was no plate on the back, but he was wearing a ballistic vest.
The ongoing domestic situation that we're talking about obviously interests us a great deal. Can you tell us a little bit more on the texts they were sent to you?
We can't answer that.
One more question. The University Hospital.
The suspect would have continued to engage people inside the church and outside had it not been for the Good Samaritan who stepped in.
We can only speculate.
2016, 2017.
When in
Can you
2017?
describe the events as he walked into the church? It's reported that you walked up the center aisle shooting and then walked back down the center aisle shooting. Would you just describe what actually happened there, please? The question is, could you describe what happened inside the church? There's a report he walked down the center aisle shooting and then walked back down it shooting. Is that correct?
Without getting into too much detail, the subject, it was there was some length and time that the subject spent inside that church in a shooting event. He moved around freely inside the church, but I'm not going to get into his exact dynamics within the church.
We will tweet something as well. We plan on having a press briefing around 7 o'clock this afternoon for
Where did the video come
Quick
from?
point of clarification. There's 3 Academy stores in San Antonio. Do you know which one the weapons were purchased at, just so we're correct on that?
We're not going to release that information.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for coming. Again, we will brief y'all at 7 p.m.
My name's Freeman.